All right, we are back. We're missing one, but Onn will be back in a very short amount of time. So, where the party left off last time is that when they did this mysterious job where they had to escort a boat that was moving of its own volition through the sewers. They had to escort that boat through the sewers, and they soon found that they were in the territory of a circle of druids that take the form of several vermin-type sewer creatures, and that's their turf, that's their territory. So the party was able to skillfully negotiate with the druids and more or less gain their blessing to go through the sewers, but in return they had to do something for the druids. So their little job done, they are following a druid named Bredis. She's taken a rat form, and she is leading them in the dead of night through the western part of the city. On their way, they got stopped by a also very mysterious dwarf named Darius Buffo, who Onn was able to realize that name is associated with one of the big shipping companies, one of the big freight companies here in Twin Harbor. And he gave you guys a counter offer. So after you follow Bredis and do whatever it is that you need to do, you've got these two kind of options going on, or you can try and do both of them. Go meet up with Darius, or go do the original mission that was proposed to you as soon as you finish the first mission. So you're going through the city at this point. You're not seeing very many guards, not many people awake at all. It's probably like 1:30 in the morning right now. And it's hard to see Bredis as she darts in between the sides of the street here and there, but you can catch her in the light of the oil lamps as she scurries this way and that way. And she's also turning back and squeaking at you. Doesn't really have the ability to talk while she's in the rat form, but she squeaks very emphatically, as if to say,
picked a different race, man.
Yeah, she should have.
The ghost halfling.
Yeah. So.
But no. Stupid NPCs don't know how to maximize themselves.
Mm-hmm. So she scurries this way and that way, and eventually leads you down a very crowded alleyway, and the alleyway spits out into this area that is like a long kind of a ditch. It's pretty much like an open culvert, and she squeaks at and dives in. So it looks like you guys are going to follow her into the sewers once more. Yeah. Who was providing the light, or do you guys all have low light vision? Does it not matter? You're two
I don't,
elves.
but Onn was providing.
Onn was providing light.
The torch. He lit a torch.
Yes, I had a torch, and I will be lighting a torch. I have been involved in too many discussions of dark vision recently to go without a torch.
For sure, for sure. All right, so Onn will be providing the light for the group as you scurry your way through the sewers. And go ahead and just roll like general perception checks as you're kind of rolling down this way.
Okay. Do we make these with disadvantage, or are we moving slowly?
I mean, you're moving slowly enough to not get disadvantage.
Sweet.
Okay, hold on. Let me. Okay.
So that's a 17 from me.
I rolled like crap, so 12.
Are we waiting for me to roll? Because I didn't know if I need to.
I mean, you can, or you can just say that Eridu is not paying attention.
Eridu is not paying attention.
Eridu is not paying attention. Okay, so he's moving slowly. He's got the light, so he's taken the opportunity to really scope what's going on. And you guys are trudging through like sewer muck, of course, like by your feet. But the level is low enough that there's a lot of the pipe that is exposed, and you're starting to notice these like really interesting things going on the sides of the pipe. There's what looks to be claw marks every now and again, and there's also just pools of like rusty looking something. It's like a blue rusted, like crusted something that is just all over. And yeah, so essentially, yeah, just looks really.
Would I be able to, while we're walking along, since we're not going too fast, would I be able to just stop and sort of feel along the claw marks, see if I can get an impression of like how deep they are, what angle the claw would need to be at, and can I compare that to any claws that I might have read about or encountered firsthand?
Yeah, you're definitely able to execute that. As much information as you can get, it'll be dependent on a check of some sort. I don't know, maybe just like another perception or something. Like
Yeah, or nature?
Nature, sure. Nature's cool.
Okay. Am I better at nature? That's the question. I'm not better at nature, so that's 14.
Okay, a 14. You get a cursory pass over it, and you can tell that the claw marks are not very deep. They're not very deep. They're deep enough to have made a scratch, to have made an impression, and they also look really jagged. You know what I mean? As if like whatever the contact point was for the scratch, like it wasn't strong enough to scratch all the way. So like some of them are just like fraying out. It's not like a clean claw mark necessarily. Yeah.
Does it look? Do you think with a check like that, I'd be able to tell the difference between like a human's fingernails and like a bear's claws?
Definitely doesn't look like a bear claw. Definitely doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a quick reminder, my wolf Domini has 20 passive perception on smelling in here. So if anything,
Congratulations,
pops up,
Domini. It smells like shit.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was gonna say.
understand.
Like,
but just in case something pops up,
For
like,
sure.
20 is like
Definitely.
So some like especially nasty smelling creature.
yeah, if something stinky
Pops up.
is gonna sneak up on you, Domini's got your back.
Right.
For sure. Okay, so you guys are going along, and Breedis leads you to the left, to the right. At this point, she's taken so many turns. It's reminiscent of the last time you were in the sewer with her. She's taken so many turns that she just knows instinctively, and you guys kind of have no idea where you're at. But
Do I get the impression that she's trying to intentionally confuse us with the path through the tunnels? Like she doesn't fully trust us, or do I not get that impression at all?
you don't get that impression because, I mean,
Okay.
it doesn't look like she's thinking about it. Doesn't look like she's thinking, like, how could I confuse these guys? She's just going as fast as she can. And you guys, of
Well,
course, are
how
a
can
lot
you tell
slower.
in rat form?
And yeah,
Well-
how can you tell with rat form? That's another thing. That's another thing. So, up ahead, you start to get these faint sounds that are echoing and clanging off of the inside of the sewer pipes. And it definitely sounds like roars and just very like animalistic, raging scream sounds. And yeah, it sounds pretty hectic already. And once Breedis hears that, she just charges straight ahead even faster, not really waiting for you guys at this point, just trying to get to the destination. And it looks like it's straight ahead in front of you.
Well, upon hearing that, I'll pull my crossbow out in front of me and charge after her.
Okay.
Eridu wipes his sweaty brow and says, "Oh, it looks like it begins."
Mm-hmm.
And I, yeah, I like pull out my two blades and follow. Normally, I wouldn't get on top of Damini's back, but it's like lots is going on, so I'm gonna pop on her back, and then if we get into some kind of combat situation, I'm gonna jump off immediately.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Oh, if we get into some kind of combat situation, this is gonna get sick.
This is gonna get
Like disgusting. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna get kind of disgusting and sick for sure. So you guys are charging full speed ahead to the end of the sewer pipe, and at this point you start to see some lights ahead. It looks like the ruddy glow of the oil lamps in front of you. You know you're going towards some other part of the city, and there's a wide open culvert. Actually, as you get to the end, you see that bits of this pipe on the top are just broken. You know, like this whole thing, it's like not even a proper sewer pipe. It's just like a rusted like opening in the ground. It's
Right.
it's pretty gross. But
Okay. I'm going to discard the torch as we're running.
Okay.
So when I see that we're running towards light, and I can tell that it's pretty much just a straight pipe.
Yeah.
Discard the torch.
all right, torch is gone. Torch is gone.
Yeah.
As you get to the very end, the sounds get much more intense, of course, and at the end of the tunnel, you see two animal shapes that Breedis runs toward, and it looks like the two animal shapes are forming a line, and they're trying to hold off a handful of what seem to be like humanoid-looking creatures that, yeah, they look like humans, but their bodies are warped with these weird growths all over, and they have the telltale bandages around both arms, and there's blue crusted like crystals kind of poking out. Some are quite long, and they're just screaming and making all sorts of ungodly noise and just wailing on these druids that are right in front of them. The two druids are they're in their animal forms. One is this like big gnarly mastiff hound with patches of fur missing, and then the other is like a giant snake, like a giant I don't know, not quite anaconda, but giant like constrictor snake.
All right, I want to roll some initiative on his ass.
Well, you guys should probably roll some initiative. So
I mean, that's what I say in character, because that makes sense.
So for combat, I kind of mentioned this last session. The way I roll as a DM is very much by the book. I might be into like trying some optional rules at some point when I do DMing again in this game. But for right now, it's going to be very much like just regular way that you do it. So give me your initiative scores, and I'll roll initiative for the relevant things here.
I got a 12. Because reasons.
Okay.
I also get a 12 because of minuses.
Okay, who has
Are we rolling
the...
off? Because I've got a
No.
+3 bonus to my initiative roll.
Okay, no, that
I get a
means- that means
-2.
Asa.
Minus.
Ah, suck it on.
Yeah.
I created a character with Dex.
All right, so
17.
okay.
I rolled okay.
Uh-huh.
I have a +4 to initiative, so.
Uh-huh.
How? Oh, you made a. That's right. I forgot your
No.
character. You made a new one that can actually roll in it. Dexterity rolls.
All right.
And you're probably more sneaky than me too.
You are,
6.
6.
No, you're a ranger. Yeah.
Yeah, +6.
I think I got +5.
Okay, so the initiative order, you guys rolled much better than I did. So the initiative order is Alton, Eridu, Onn, and then some enemies. No, I think the druids are going right there. Oh, okay. So, Alton, you are charging. I'm going to say you're still about like 30 feet from the tussle at the end. And they're essentially, the two druids are trying to make this choke point. The opening is larger than they can really hold, but there's not too many. There's like 3 of them in front of them at the moment. Three of these crazy
Okay,
things in front of them.
so is there one at 25 feet from me, or is it?
They're more like 35 feet. So the druids are like 30 feet in front of you, and then the monsters are on the opposite side. So it's like 35 feet away from you.
Okay, gotcha. So, okay, so purely because this is all mechanics and not at all whatever. This is all the cinematic version. The mechanics will stay the same. I'm going to put away because I'm assuming I saw the monsters before initiative started, right?
Yeah.
Like that they're too far away. So I'm
Yeah.
going to have put away my swords, and having seen that I am shorter and cannot move as fast, and cinematically speaking, although mechanics will stay the same, I am going to then basically, Damni is going to basically stop and give me a push of 25 feet, and I'm going to heroically shoot my bow at one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
Okay. Heroically. So you're
Heroically, just like blam, like.
So the way I interpreted it, you're ending your movement at like 10 feet away from the druids.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
It just looks cool as shit.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
like a Legolas thing, just like know. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So,
like it.
yeah, I don't think the druids in front of you are big enough to like provide cover for the enemies, so I won't give any like bonuses or negatives or anything. But if there was like a giant bear, I would say like maybe he's got half cover or something. But yeah, go
Right, yeah.
go ahead and roll it.
If there's unless there's significant cover, I think.
Yeah. No, just
Like a person you can shoot around, essentially.
yeah.
So, okay. So let me just grab the... here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna... Not great.
Ooh.
It is a 6. Or sorry, no, not 6. 8. I apologize. 8.
I'm afraid that is going to miss.
Yeah, that seems somehow surprising.
I'm afraid
And then I'm
so.
gonna have in the process, Dominique is going to come up and create go up against the. She can't attack, but basically just go up towards the them, and she has 40-foot range.
Mm.
So,
All right, so
she'll basically be there in the fray.
Yeah, she's gonna try and like fill in this whole like perimeter that they're trying to This
Right,
line that
right,
they're
right.
trying to get.
She's going in to basically, if anyone is like, say, especially Eridu is there, she's basically providing that like aggression.
Uh-huh. All right, cool. So that will make it Eridu's turn.
Yeah, I heard my name. I thought it means it's time for me to go.
Yeah,
All right, so
pretty much.
you said they're how far away? About 30 feet.
About 30 feet away.
Awesome, that is perfect. Even if they're not, I can make them within 30 feet. So
Wow.
Eridu is going to. Dog, stop! She's moving my chair. Eridu is going to do the thing he was kind of doing when he was all strung out in the last session.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of swirl his fingers above the river of just mucky, gross sewer water. As he's stepping forward, that water is going to start to come together in tendrils up to his hand, and then he is going to like lash out, and a whip of this muddy shit water is going to wrap itself around one of the creatures,
Mm-hmm.
and they now need to make a dexterity roll.
Oh my goodness, really?
Yeah, otherwise I'm gonna fuck their shit up.
Well, I failed unequivocally. I don't even know what the DC is, but I rolled.
But you failed.
I failed
I don't
unequivocally.
even know the
so,
DC.
so what happens?
All right, so this muddy water wraps around this creature's ankle, and Eridu just yanks like he's yanking with a whip,
Mm-hmm.
and you can hear like a pretty distinct popping sound as this thing's hip bunks out of place,
Wow.
and it takes 12 points of bludgeoning damage,
Wow.
and is knocked prone and pulled 25 feet closer to me. So he's about 5 feet away from me.
Well, that's incredible. Okay.
He's on his ass.
So, all right. He's knocked prone. He's moved toward you. So, once he hits the ground, like the ground out there, it like starts to turn into more like cobblestone type thing. So you pull him over, and his head just smacks on one of the cobblestones, and he lets out.
Does he move out of range of Domini's engagement?
I don't think
Yeah, but
I
it's
don't think
forced.
force movement does.
Oh, okay,
attacks of
force movie
opportunity.
doesn't count.
Yeah. So his head just cracks on the cobblestone, and he lets out this like agonizing kind of crazy sound, and then you pull him through the shit water because that's brutal. And yeah, you can see that a trail of blue crusty blood is trailing after him as you pull him through the sewer pipe. That was cool.
Very good thing for a trail to do. Trail.
Very good.
Trailer.
Go on your turn.
Okay. Could I just have a clarification of the current layout now that we've had Alton and Eridu's?
Yeah, so you got over on this end is the two druids that are facing off against now what looks to be two creatures in front of them. You've got Alton like 10 feet over in this direction. 15 feet from that, I think, is the one that Eridu pulled. And then
Damney is right next to the.
Damney's all the way over here. Damney's next to the other
yeah.
two druids. And then, Eridu's right here, and then you're still all the way back here, like 30 feet away.
Okay. In that case, the two druids are facing off against two of these creatures.
Yeah.
Three druids are facing off against two of these creatures, and they're right in front of them.
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to run up behind them and sling my crossbow to my side to free up my hands, and take out a sliver of glass and throw it towards them so that right in front of the druids I cast Cloud of Daggers.
Oh.
It is a second level spell. It fills a 5-foot cube with bits of broken glass just swirling around, doing 4d4 slashing damage whenever a creature starts its turn there or enters the area for the first time.
Okay.
There is no saving throw. It
No
is just
saving throw.
it takes the damage. Because it is a first level spell or above, at GM's discretion, you can have me roll on the Wild Magic Surge table.
Oh, I definitely want you to roll on the Wild Magic Surge table. And what was that? What was that thing that we said? Like, if you don't get the surge, then you get a consecutive +1 for the next
Yeah,
Wild
that
Magic
was-
Surge.
That's what. I don't think that has to be a
Well-
rule for everyone, but that's what Asa did.
I mean, that's awesome, and I want to do it. I mean, I just don't even know what's on the Wild Magic table, so I want to find out.
A bunch of completely random shit.
You know
Yeah.
someone can turn themselves blue.
Well, I know that.
Creatures have disadvantage on saving throws against the next spell you cast in the next minute that involves a saving throw.
Oh, well, that worked out well for you.
I don't think any of my spells need saving throws.
Okay.
I specifically made all of my spells either attacks or things like Cloud of Daggers where they don't need saving throws. So
It's okay. You're still doing well. So
yay!
yeah. So wait.
Yeah, so I'll have moved as close as I can to those druids and then cast that spell at the area around in
For
front of
sure.
them.
Okay. Well, then that is taken care of. All right. Next.
That'll be my turn.
Yeah. Next is the druid's turn. Breedis is, maybe she's like just past where Eridu had pulled that creature toward him, and Breedis turns into her elven form, and she's got all of a sudden a quarterstaff that is starting to glow with a kind of intense power, and she hisses as she charges forward. Kill the blue bloods!
Green now. Green.
Oh, she's not talking about you, dude. She's,
Oh, good. Oh,
She's
good.
not talking about you. So she she charges forward and just joins that whole crazy melee that's going on up there. And I'm just gonna roll some attacks for these guys. That's gonna be 2 hits, and they'll go ahead and deal. Easy peasy. Yeah, so they have they got up together, and then the other 2 druids are still in animal form, and the snake lashes out and just bites one on the shoulder, and then the dog goes and bites, but then he misses, and then Breedis has her quarterstaff and then just wallops one of them right across the jaw, and they exchange some blows. And then it is the turn of the... I mean, essentially they're zombies. I mean, they're not really zombies, but they're acting like zombies would because they have that kind of mindless approach. They start their turn. There's 2 of them still in that cloud of daggers, and they roll the damage.
Ooh, that works out well.
Oh my.
So that's 5, 9, 13. That's not shabby.
That is not shabby. They are shredded. They're absolutely shredded. They're not dead, but the daggers go of their own volition and just cut them all over their bodies, and every place where it's cut, it just starts to seep that thick blue blood viscous liquid from their wounds, and they scream in horror, what can only seem to be horror, and they wail on the druids that are in front of them. And let's see, what do we got going on here? One hits for... Yeah, I'm just gonna... Alright, so Asa, the one that you grabbed, he's prone, but he can stand up. Is he still attached by your thing, or did that dissipate?
I I do believe it dissipates after the one use.
Okay, so he stands up using half of his movement, and then he comes at you and goes, "Ah," and tries to bite you, hug you, do something really, really nasty to you. And, that's only 8 versus your AC.
Yeah, so he comes like charging at me, and I just sidestep and let him just continue on past me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now you guys just pretty much swap positions.
I guess so.
Yeah, you just swap positions. And then you hear a large bellowing, and whomever is close enough to the very end of the culvert right here can see that there is another one of these creatures charging toward you guys, and it looks like just a huge physique, just a big towering physique, but still all fucked up in the same way with all the wounds and all of the blue crystals coming off of him. And he has entered the battle. And we'll go back to Alton for right now.
Okay.
Am I able to talk as a free action?
Sure.
Yeah. Trying to think of some non-cool way to say this. Everyone involved in the fight on our side, because we're all on a side fighting together. We're together fighting. Yes. Behind the druids, the kind of druids, the things in a fight. Just behind, near me. Everyone near me.
So you're encouraging
charismatic way as on can do.
You're encouraging the druids to fall back to your position. Is that what's going on?
I'm wanting to move up to where the druids happen to be. Basically, I'm wanting to encourage everyone to stand behind the cloud of daggers, because I can't move it.
Yeah.
And it lasts for a whole minute, and I don't want to waste it.
Okay.
It would appear that Eridu is not listening.
Eridu is
I would imagine
definitely
very
not
few
listening.
people would listen to On.
Oh yeah. All right, so Alton's turn.
Okay, so exchanging all my weapons sounds like too many free actions. So what I'm gonna do instead is I am going to put back my bow and then at least take out my Zephos and psychically tell Damni to attack one of the zombies.
Okay.
So, okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, natural 1.
All right. Domini's having a hell of a time.
Well, I missed the first time. Domini missed.
Yeah.
It was a 2 and then a 1.
You're just getting all your bad rolls out right now.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna be okay.
Because that's how dice and probability works.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly how that works, right?
Oh, D&D players are the most superstitious. The most superstitious people on the planet. Yeah. Okay, so that will be
that's
it.
pretty much all
That's
I can
pretty much
do.
all.
Actually, I am going to move up to where Damni is, and basically just move up in that area, so that way I can be within melee range.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But not be within the cloud of daggers.
For sure.
Clearly.
All right.
And if I need to, I can be within somebody else's space that's larger than me, so no harm, no foul.
Mm-hmm. So, Eridu, what shall you do, Eridu?
I'm just gonna punch the crap out of the guy in front of me.
Okay.
Because again, I'm not listening.
Yeah. You're not.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Get all up in that grill.
Well, then do it.
If it's my turn?
Yeah.
Because I'm part of the reason why I'm not listening is Eridu is because I'm not really listening is Asa. All right.
Well, it's only 5. It's
doing
only
great.
what, 5 by or whatever. It's not that big, so you're far enough away from it.
Yeah. So he's this blue gross creature has stepped a little bit beyond me, and his back is to me now, and so I'm just going to give him a quick kick in the ass, and hopefully he tumbles forward into the water. That is a... What's my bonus to attack?
Are you rolling in a glass or something? I like that
I'm rolling
tinking.
in a little glass.
That little tinky sound.
That's a 19. A 19 to hit with my fisticuffs.
Definitely hits.
Okay, I'm waiting for my D4. It's in my hand. Yay! That is 7 damage as I just kick him in the ass.
You kick him in the ass, and he falls down with a groan and a hiss, and it looks like he's still alive, but he's not going anywhere super fast. You just keep knocking him prone.
I'm gonna do it. Just
You
knock
just
him
keep,
prone all day.
keep knocking him prone. Wow. All right. Anything else for Eridu?
No, I think it's gonna be it. I'm just
Okay.
gonna be ready for him to keep on doing this stupid shit.
All right. On. What shall you do?
Big guy still around?
The big guy, he's like not really in your cloud of daggers because he's behind it, but you can see that he's like getting ready to come mess you guys up.
In that case, I'm going to try and taunt him to come towards me, and yeah, not in any real mechanical sense. I'm just gonna point to him and yell, "You're large and unseemly," and then throw a chaos bolt at him.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Those are cutting words from On. So I get a +5 for my chaos bolt to hit. That's a spell attack, and I roll a 1.
Oh,
fantastic! That's a 6 in total.
Okay.
It is also a first level spell, and so could also provoke chaos.
I mean, it could. So wait, hold on. So, but there was the other thing. So you have a class feature that you use. That
Oh yes, Ties of Chaos. Gain advantage on an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. Ooh.
did you want to use that? But then
Yeah,
does
if
that
it allow me to re-roll that.
yeah? I mean, does that automatically trigger the wild magic surge? Is that the way it regularly is supposed to work?
It means that not as an automatic thing, but again, it's like whenever the GM wants to. It's basically
Oh.
like yes,
I see.
it can just like happen. But that's a 13 plus 5 is 18.
There you go. Now that's a hit.
Or at the very least, you can have them roll, and then like I think the rule, like one of the ways that it works that you can do it is you roll, and if they get a natural 1, then it becomes a wild magic surge.
You can do that too. I don't know. I'm kind of fine tuning my approach, but I definitely, whenever you use Tides of Chaos with an ability, it will absolutely trigger a wild magic surge.
Oh, that's right. Yes, the wild magic surge. I misunderstood. It's roll a d20 immediately after casting a spell. Whereas Ties of Chaos, it is just roll on the table and a wild thing happens.
Oh,
was
I
it,
see.
yes.
I see.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten how my own ability worked. But anyway,
It happens.
so now that that is a hit, I now need to roll 2d8 plus 1d6 damage. Because it is a duty little spell.
That's a doozy, all right.
Yeah, okay. And then I choose one of the d8s to determine the kind of damage that it takes. So I roll a 7 and a 1, so it's either psychic or acid. Let's go with psychic damage. So this is going to be 13 psychic damage.
Wow. Okay. I don't even know like what form that takes. It's just like this, this like purpley like woo 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 kind of beam, and then it starts holding its head and going, "Get out of my head!" I think that's the way it works. So you said it's 13 of that psychic damage.
That is how all psychic
Yeah,
damage
13.
works.
Yeah.
Get out of my
Like a
head.
really bad episode of
You're-
Star Trek.
Or
Yeah.
I've always
Well,
thought,
the X-Men.
man,
You see these colored orbs that just are like circles that come out and get bigger as they go. And the enemy just holds their head and screams.
oh, psychic damage, no.
Yes, yeah, it's psychic damage.
All right. Well, it's a wallop. He does the classic, holding his head and like going all crazy, and it seems to have stopped him in his tracks for just a second, kind of distracted him, and it definitely made him piss off at you. Yeah. All right. So.
Oh, psychic damage.
Oh, psychic damage! No. All right. So it's the.
Come at me, brother.
Come at me, brother. All right, so I gotta pull up this thing because the druids, they're actually going to. Okay.
Ooh, quick, do something useful.
One druid, the snake druid, is gonna fall back like 10 feet and maybe take an attack of opportunity for doing so. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna take some damage. And it will turn into what is an elven form. You find out an elven male, and he puts his hands out and starts to speak some magical elven words. And
we shall call him Melvin.
Melvin, and actually, grasping weeds and vines sprout from the ground in a 20-foot square, starting from a point within range.
Way to explain in a really interesting and like in the world feel like that. I mean, your description made me feel like I was there.
And then
watching these things just come out of the ground and wrap themselves around the enemies and pull them down. It was really immersive.
Very immersive.
I appreciate that.
I know.
And not at all as if you're reading it from a book.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Look, I was going to get to the point. I was going to get to the point that the one druid uses entangle, and then the other druid tries to go in for a big old bite as the dog, and he misses, unfortunately. But a big area of difficult terrain has been created, which will work very well with Onn's ability to have Cloud of Daggers. Last for a minute, so you get to roll damage again.
I do.
Because it's their turn now.
Sweet. That's now a caltrop.
Nice.
Okay, so that's 5, 7, 11 damage.
Ouch. Okay, so the two ones right in front. Hold on a second. Yeah, the two right in front of the now is only the dog druid. The two in front of them just totally get shredded to pieces. The cloud of daggers just comes in at all different angles, and then they just kind of like fall apart, just having taken way too many wounds. And the very large one comes screaming through as soon as they get cut down. He just comes screaming through and just lands this huge punch. The daggers come in and cut him as well, but didn't seem to do as much damage. And yeah, this guy connects with the one druid. So hold on, Domni is there?
Yeah, she is. She's right there with them.
Yeah, so Domni is right next to this dog, and then is Onn like right there, or how far back is Onn?
Onn would have moved up.
Okay.
I would have moved up right to the druids and my cloud of daggers. So I'm
Okay,
right there.
so in that case,
I'm in the thick of it.
I need a couple more attack rolls in that case. So
You're fine.
on Domni on Domni it's only like a 7 against AC. For
Not even
Onn,
close.
yeah, for Onn it's like a 19 versus AC, so that's probably definitely a hit. And that's
My armor class is 8.
yeah, so that's gonna be like 8 damage. So essentially, what happens is this guy comes in with this big punch, and he just does a big cleaving punch, and then so he goes in for the punch, and then he uses the opposite momentum to do a shove. So he just uses this big, enormous arm and just like clobbers you guys, and then knocks you back 10 feet. No, not 10 feet, only 5. Knocks you back 5 feet, and you're prone on the ground. Yeah. 8 damage. All right, so the one druid, the dog druid, is looking very, very hurt. He's looking very hurt. He's starting to bleed. And behind the cloud of daggers now, you see two more of those creatures rushing in.
The small ones or the big ones?
Smaller ones.
Okay.
Okay, I will shout to... what was her name now?
Breedis.
Breedis. Thank you. Breedis, do you not have any way to close up this tunnel? Command the sewage to create a barrier? Are you not masters of your own land?
There's only so much we can do, she says in between coughing because she got hit too, and she's kind of trying to pick herself up from the muck.
Gods damn it.
All right, so Alton, your turn.
Okay, so, is there a safe space I can go to between Domini and I to flank the big guy?
I will say he's big enough and you're small enough to where you can try and do some acrobatic stuff to like tumble around him and avoid an attack of opportunity. But it's...
Well, as long as I stay within his reach, I don't trigger an attack of opportunity.
Okay, I didn't realize that you were up there. I thought you were still...
both of them are right up there.
Oh, man, I should have gotten an attack roll against you then. Because I rolled one for Domini, and I just didn't realize that you were there.
Was he doing a sweeping attack?
Yeah. He did this. Yeah, he did this big sweeping attack and a big push. So.
Okay. That's why I like that.
I rolled a 2. You're fine. You're
Totally
fine.
fine.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
I mean, hold on.
So is there a way that I can
attacks of opportunity. If you're moving through his threat range, that still provokes one.
No. Only if you move outside their threat.
Really? Is that changed in 5th edition? Okay.
Yep.
Fine. That's fine. All right. Yeah, you can go ahead and flank him.
Okay, so between the two of us, I'm gonna flank him, and as I'm as I'm flanking him, I Hunter's Mark. I speak a special incantation from my homeland, and I don't have one made up for myself yet, so and I do a Hunter's Mark as my bonus action, and then I attack with my Zephos while pulling out my Copus.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right. So you get advantage on the attack roll for flanking.
Correct. So that is a 12 plus 6, 18.
That will be a hit.
Okay.
For
And
sure.
so then that's 2d6 because of Hunter's Mark. And so that's 10 damage.
On the big guy. All
Yeah,
right.
on the big guy.
On the big guy. So your Zephos cuts through the meaty part of his leg, and you're up close, so you start to get this really kind of like pungent odor. Like as soon as you cut the wound open, there's this kind of like hiss, and you get this really pungent, like, I would say it's a chemical smell, but you've never smelled like a chemical before.
Right.
But it's just got this acrid, just kind of like
Right.
kind of stench to it.
And I telepathically tell Domini that I'm sorry.
Gross. I'm sorry,
Because
Domini.
She can smell.
Yeah, she can smell really well.
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
So the big guy is still a truckin', but he is bleeding quite heavily at this point. And anything else for Alton?
No, that's all I can do currently.
All right, Eridu.
Eridu something. All right, so I got this guy on the ground in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna bend down and grab him by the back of the head. And just lift his whole head up and get a good look at his face.
Mm-hmm.
What's he look like? I mean, like, what can I see? Like humanish features?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can see humanoid features. The eyes, you know, and you guys have seen all around the city. You've seen these people that have been taking Ethereum, and what happens to their eyes is that it gets all like kind of milky and blue and cloudy, and this is like way more intense looking than that. Like it's like a really deep blue, and you can see like the veins in the eyes are just like really intensely kind of like popping out a bit. There's this kind of like wide open kind of quality to the eyes, and all the features are just like scarred, and the veins under the skin are sickly and blue. And yeah, it looks like a human male, but yeah, just very changed in this gross way.
Is there any sense of like recognition or like humanity in his face, or does he just look completely feral?
I mean, right now he's looking pretty feral, but he's also kind of tired because he's like almost dead or something. So he might kind of swipe at you, but if you look long enough into those creepy eyes, maybe you'll see some kind of glimmer of something.
So, lifting up this head, I'm looking at him and I'm saying, "What have you done to yourself?" And then, still with a little bit of the drugs in my own system, my vision kind of blurs for a second, and the face becomes a distorted version of my own face.
Oh, damn!
And I just grip my teeth and slam his face into the cement.
Oof. Oof.
I'm hoping that a 12 will hit, because this seems like a moment where I should like.
Yeah. I'm gonna say you have like all sorts of advantage and blah blah blah, and that's essentially a coup de grace. I don't know if they kept coup de grace around, but that's a coup de grace in my opinion.
It's enough to just pretty much crush his skull.
Yeah, pretty much. So wow, that's intense. That's super intense. All right, so on.
And then I guess I'll like just kind of stand up and back away a bit.
Oh, okay.
And that's all I'm gonna do.
All right. So on, you have anything special to do?
Trying to think about doing something fancy, but no, I'll just keep on simple. So the big guy's still around.
He's still up and at him.
Let's try and keep him. I want to keep him in the cloud of daggers and not advance any further. So I am going to toss my crossbow to my side and pull out my spear. And then I'm going to, while charging towards him, picking myself up off the ground, charge towards him and yell out, "Green Flame Blade!" Leap into the air and attack him with a Green Flame Blade spear attack.
Oh, it's just like Dragon Ball Z. It's like where you say the name of your moves before you do them.
Yep. So I'm assuming I hit. I mean, he's a big guy.
You have advantage. So if you rolled shitty, just rolled again. You're flanking with all sorts of people.
That's true.
Alton and Domini are creating advantage for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's even better. Then in that case, I get a 17.
There you go.
Not a 7.
That's a hit. That's a hit for sure.
Brilliant. Okay. So in that case, on a hit, the target suffers the attack's normal effects, and green fire leaps from the target to a different creature of your choice that you can see within 5 feet of it. I did not think this through.
I would say the smaller guys are behind him than 5 feet, within 5 feet for that.
Awesome. In that case, he takes 1 damage, and they take 3 damage.
Okay. Very good, very good. All right, so it is the druid's turn, and at this point, actually, behind the two, behind everything else that's going on with the big battle, behind all that, outside of the culvert, you hear more noise as 2 members of the city guard kind of pop their heads around the corner and see this whole melee going on, and they just shout like, "Ah, get them!" And they start charging forward, and at this point the druids take notice immediately, and all of them shift into their animal forms. Breedus turns into, a dog, something that's got a lot more muscle to it, and they each take one of the fallen bodies of the smaller, what they called the blue bloods. They each take the bodies and they start dragging them where you guys came from through the sewer. So the druids are kind of like getting out of the battle as quickly as they can. And when the blue bloods start their turn, can you roll more damage for me, Drew? Because you got the big guy in that. That's such an effective thing. Cloud of Daggers is so awesome.
Yeah.
Especially when you block his face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Huh?
7 damage. Not as good as previously.
Not as good. So the big guy is still kicking. The other 2 that come through, they start to look a little bloody as they charge through indiscriminately into the Cloud of Daggers. And the 2 smaller ones get adjacent to both Domni and Alton. And then the big guy, so on you're going to get focused on by the big guy, I think. No, actually the big guy is going to do like a whirlwind attack because he's got these big. So I'm going to handle his thing first.
Okay.
So,
I have 6 hit points in an armor class of 8.
Yeah, so I'm afraid you get hit. Domni, that is a 16 versus AC.
Oh, yeah, that hits.
Okay, and then Alton, I actually got a crit on.
Nice.
I actually got a crit on. So, let's see. The regular hit for both of you guys is only 4 damage. That's Domni and Onn, but Onn is not here to hear it. And then Alton, you take 8 damage.
Eridu can just appear out of nowhere and take the damage for On. Just,
We'll just
Well,
let him know.
he just
Wow,
grabs
that's
it
right.
out of the air and just puts it on himself. My
Mhm.
damage.
For sure.
More
So-
damage.
Yeah, so someone remember to tell him
Yeah,
that,
we'll remember to tell him.
I guess.
Yeah.
And let's see. Oh, and then the other 2 are going to target both Domni and... Okay, so the one against you, Alton, misses, but Domni, that is a 15 versus AC.
It's AC. That's the AC number.
All right, so only 3 damage on Domni.
Okay.
And yeah, they're pretty much, their method of attack is very, very chaotic. It's mostly like beating with fists, like trying to claw with the nails, like even going in
Right.
for a bite. Like nothing very organized or disciplined. They're just kind of going for it.
Right.
All right, so you got 3 targets left, Alton, and you got
Okay.
and you got 2 guards coming in on the other end.
Right,
They're not quite made it yet.
So I'm going to continue. I'm going to do 2 swipes, action, bonus action. Because the Xephos is a short sword and the Copus is a scimitar, and both are light. So, and I'm just going to hit with both if I take him
Sorry
down.
about that.
You took 4 damage.
Yeah.
And we don't
then-
forgive you. You took 4 damage because you left.
Yeah.
Not because there was an attack or anything, just because you were not around.
Okay.
Okay, so for the first hit, that is a 19.
That's a hit.
Okay. And then here I'll roll the attack because I don't know how weak he is, but 5. That was super useless.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one is that's 17 natural. So yeah, 23. So hits
Yeah.
clearly. And that one is much better. 11.
All right. So you and Domini go in for a coordinated attack on the big guy, and Domini goes in and bites the leg, and then you slash the other leg, and essentially he's just taking so much damage at this point, and his legs are kind of getting useless, so he topples forward straight onto his face and stops moving.
Okay, and in that case, I am going to move my hunter's mark over to the zombie that is attacking Domini,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
because that's what happened. Because it died, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Died.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's what happens with the hunter's mark, is that you can move it over after
For
death.
sure. Okay. So Eridu, what do you do?
So, do these creatures have like open pussing wounds?
Yeah,
kind of thing?
For
Okay.
sure.
Seeing the druids grab some of the other bodies and head deeper into the sewers, Eridu is he's gonna look at what's going on with Onn and Alton there. And how many creatures are they up against?
There are 2 smaller blue bloods one next to Domini, one next to Alton.
And they just dropped a big one.
They just dropped the big one next to them.
And did I kill a big one or a small one?
You killed a small one.
Okay. I'm gonna hoist this one up onto my shoulder and start following the druids.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's my whole round of combat.
That's your whole
all I
thing.
do, because I am such a helpful.
You're
combatant.
so good. On. What shall you do?
Seeing Eridu effect his retreat,
Run away
I'm
like a
going to
bitch.
I'm going to quickly survey everything going on, take stock of the fact that I'm severely wounded, and think Alton can take care of himself, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Alton's a strong lad. He can handle this. Now I'm going to voluntarily lower the cloud of daggers.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to instead brace my spear again and charge towards one of these smaller creatures along with Alton. As I'm charging towards, however, I'm not going to effect an attack. I'm going to quickly cast a different spell. This one being Blur.
A fake out.
Yeah. So I'm going to charge towards them and then just make it very hard for them to hit me.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
I don't need to roll anything. They just have disadvantage on attack rolls against me.
Very well.
Look all blurry.
Very well. Very well. All right. So at this point, I guess the two blue bloods that are left will get some attacks, and they will miss very, very badly. And they start their turn. Oh, Cloud Daggers is gone though. So essentially, they just whiff at you like. And then at this point, the 2 guards that were coming up get to them, and they have swords and shields. Actually, one's got a sword and a shield, the other's got a large halberd, a large pike, and they just start tearing into them.
Sweet.
Yeah, it looks like they could be taken out in very short time. I mean, you guys made it a lot easier on them, that much is for sure. For sure. And
Okay.
Alton, what shall you do?
Okay. Okay,
Alton,
so
do you feel that perhaps these guards have everything in order?
I'm just gonna basically say telepathically, obviously, is I'm gonna say Demi looks a little hurt. I don't want to leave her to any backbiting. So
Well, I'll cover your escape. I'm fairly protected. Off you go. Follow Eridu. I'll hold up the rear.
okay, so then in that case, what I'm going to do is, because it doesn't really matter, I'm going to basically go around. I'm going to take the opportunity, attack of opportunity on the one, but go around, and as I'm going around, I'm going to flank the one zombie that's attacking Alton, and then continue on. So, and then hit it twice as I go along, and then if it dies, then Dominique will follow. So,
Okay.
like, so yeah,
yeah,
so
I got it.
I'm essentially splitting up my movement.
Yeah. Okay. So I missed on my attack of opportunity against you.
Okay, gotcha. Not that I care about that. I have plenty of health.
I don't.
22.
That's a hit.
So yeah. 3. Jesus. And then oops. Let's try that again. Well, the first one's 16, so okay, yeah. So we're fine. 22 again.
Mm-hmm.
And then 9.
Okay. So those are both on one.
Yeah, those are both on the one.
You decapitate very handily. that
and
one.
then since Domini is far enough away that she's not going to invoke an attack of opportunity, then we're both just going to bolt.
You're gone. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Eridu's gone. Onn, what shall you do?
Well, if Alton and Domini, so you guys have scarpered now.
Yeah.
In that case, I will do the same. I shall disengage and run after them.
There you go.
But I'll run slightly slower, so I'm at the back. I will be behind them at all times. But yeah,
For sure.
follow them away, hoping that the guards are enough of a distraction.
Well, the one guard cuts down the last remaining blue blood, and then the other guard, who was not engaged with that one, shouts at you guys and says, "Get back here!" and then starts charging after you.
To which I'll respond, "No, thank you. We're fine. Thanks."
So, all right. So at this point, combat is over, and you do have a guard chasing you, but a lot of you guys have a lead.
The fuzz is
And
after us.
yeah, and honestly, if you guys can keep up a good pace for a while, and as soon as you hit a couple of the junctures, then he just loses interest entirely and starts moving back.
In that case, while we're on the way, and I know that like we're pretty much at the end of the day, but I just want to just in case it, I'm going to heal Domini, and then heal because I'd be mounting her at that point, so to speak. I would be riding her. There's no good way of saying that.
There is no way
There's no good way of saying that.
And so I'll heal her, and then as Eridu gets,
I'll
because then my
be
speed will
saddling her with the thick leathers.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
Well,
goodness.
no, because I bareback. So.
Oh.
Guys, this is a PG stream. PG
No,
stream.
It's not. This is a mature stream. A very mature stream.
Well, because she doesn't have a saddle, and by definition of equestrian terminology, that's a bareback.
Wow.
I'm just saying, I'm not the one who created the rules. How it works.
Okay.
So
Move on from this one.
So we should move on. So I'm gonna heal her. And I'm gonna heal Eridu because he's looking pretty rough too. So with Cure Wounds, which is 8 So they're both 4. So you get 4 health back. Eridu, or not Eridu. On.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I was
taking
gonna
the
say.
damage. It's fine.
On definitely needs it, for sure.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I apologize. Like in game world, I would have gone for. On.
Look, I get it. We're both elves. You obviously can't tell the difference.
See, you're all big folk to me.
He
You're
is
all the same.
he is green. Okay, like he looks much more like an orc than I do than he does an elf right now.
All big folk are basically knee, anything above a knee, right? That's all I see. Is basically knee and high.
I'm not racist. You're all just taller than me,
Yeah.
so you all look the same.
Classic.
Like, no, you all look the same. I'm not saying that I don't say that you all look the same. I'm just saying that, you're all knees and higher, so what do I care?
Is there like a halfling philosopher somewhere that's built an entire philosophy around knees and how you can tell a lot about a person by the shape of their knee?
Oh yeah.
That's great.
Like the phrenology equivalent of knees.
Yes.
All right, so combat's over. You guys are following the druids and Eridu actually is right behind them, and they're all carrying the corpses of the crazy, monstrous humanoid freaks that you've just slain. And you're taking turns this way and that way through the sewer, and it eventually opens up into this what looks like a hub, just a large hub of where all of these sewer places meet. And it looks like there's a space that is covered. There's like a confluence of all of the sewer water that comes through here, and that space above it is covered with this large metal covering. And it looks like a little shelter has been built here. There are threadbare, like, burlap and hay, like, sleeping areas, just kind of covered everywhere. Everything's very rudimentary. Just some rudimentary benches. Everything looks like it's been salvaged, like stuff that just fell down into the sewers, or they were able to go out of the sewers and grab a thing here or there.
Does it still smell bad?
Oh yeah, stanks. Especially now that you're bringing these stanky ass corpses in here.
I just Breedus.
Yes?
Has nothing about your living arrangements ever bothered you?
You get used to the smell.
Huh. Yes. I'm sure that given enough time to acclimatize, one might. But why? Why bother? Why not just return to the surface?
Because we're not welcome. I thought I told you about this the last time.
Yes.
We're not welcome there. Those guards that came, if we didn't leave, they would have killed us. Without hesitation. They would have killed us right there.
Why would you take the corpses then?
It's kind of a long story. And
'Cause we have
and
plenty
as
of time.
as she says that excuse me, as she says that, you see that behind you there is what looks to be like a bathtub that's all rusted and kind of falling apart a little bit. It's still sound as a bathtub though. One of the big beefy druid dudes is lowering a corpse into the bathtub, and then a couple of them pull out these wicked looking knives and then just start cutting the corpse, and all the blue viscous blood is dripping and draining out of the corpse and pooling in the bottom of the bathtub.
What are you doing?
We are harvesting the blood. We have our own uses for it. I wouldn't expect you to understand. And
Well, then I
wouldn't-
won't understand unless you explain it to me. Why would you do this? These were people. You are desecrating them.
What? You surface dwellers have such a skewed vision of what is desecration. Desecration is what happened to our people. Our lands getting destroyed, the trees cut, the roads paved, and us thrown down here like the trash. What we can do with this, she points over at the bathtub. What we can do with this is that we can get a vision of home and a vision of what Twin Harbor could be, what it was. Like I said, I wouldn't expect you to understand.
Eridu is going to step close and say, I could understand more than you would be willing to believe. But you would trade who you are, your humanity, for a vision of something that is not going to be anymore. You might see a vision of what Twin Harbors was, but that is not the Twin Harbors any longer. Or you could take a step forward in a different direction and attempt to make what you want, instead of just trying to chase after these visions.
You have no idea. We are making what we want.
And what are you making?
We can't trust you enough to tell you that. We've only just met you. You've been an enormous help, and I do appreciate it, but we just don't trust you enough to be able to tell you that.
Oh, wait.
Something to hide.
We go.
You are doing something that should be hidden. Don't. Something that should be hidden is never good.
Never will we go there. All
and
these
God's
people.
goodness is always in the light.
I wouldn't necessarily be so quick to judge there, Alton. It may very well be that perception is the only reality that we have. If this vision that they have is purely illusory, it might very well be the case that by escaping to this vision of theirs, this hallucination, it forms a sort of reality, especially if it's a shared one. As we can't truly understand and trust our senses as they currently are, easily deceived as they might be, it seems to me that perhaps any reality is potentially illusory, and so one must accept that any illusion could in fact be a seed of reality. These druids don't have a home that they feel comfortable in, and yet by harvesting this substance and imbibing it or somehow using its properties, are able to see a vision of something that is potentially more real to them than the slums in which they currently live in. Who are we to say what reality deserves to exist and which one doesn't?
Reality is consistency.
Of course, you would be one to say something like that. Having the ability to live between multiple worlds. You don't understand what it's like for some of us, Onn. You don't understand what it's like not to have the Feywild in our grasps. Have you ever thought of the Drow? Have you ever thought of the people who have been severed from their connection of their homeworld?
I can't say I've given it much thought, no.
Maybe.
What
What's
it
the name
comes
of the-
down to is whenever you escape reality, that is not reality. You escape, yes, an evil land, as you are a refugee, if you will, but that makes it no less the reality.
Perhaps. Breedus, is that the way of things here? The fact that you're trying to create a world that feels more palatable?
Like I said, we don't trust you enough to give you any more details. You've been an enormous help, and I think we can work with each other in the future as well. But you have to understand that we have a way of doing things, and we have been doing these. We've been doing these things for a reason. You have to understand that if you want to get help from us.
Quite right. Yes, you have your own culture that you're trying to preserve, a home that you're trying to fortify. I'm glad that we were able to help in the small way that we have so far. Thank you also for granting us passage beforehand so that we might complete a contract with another. Would you
Very well.
consider our agreement fulfilled? Is this simple act of border defense enough for the time being?
Yes. You've done splendidly.
Thank you. Forgive my inquiry, but is there a way out of here? As much as I might wish to inquire about local hospitality, I find my it's a delicate way to put this. Constant retching at the bad smell of your home might distract people.
Yes. I understand. My compatriot, and she gestures to the giant anaconda one that had turned into an elf. My compatriot Elidi will escort you outside of the quarantined area.
Thank you, Snake Lady.
So
I am taking this one. You will not be harvesting it.
oh. Breedis looks a little shocked at your insistence, and she looks as she's about to say something, and then she looks over at some of her other druid friends and then talks for a little bit. That is acceptable.
Good. I hope you find people that you can trust, because there is no moving forward in this world if you feel that you cannot trust the surface dwellers, or us, or anyone else.
Like I
I
said,
fear for what you become.
I have my own fears as well. But like I said, I think we can be a help to each other in the future. If you ever wish to contact us again, just look for the vermin. So at that, I think I want to get transitioning to our break. And I really enjoyed the role playing that just occurred in that whole situation. I enjoyed it so much that as the DM, I would like to take the opportunity to give you each inspiration. And I wish
awesome.
I wish I could give Asa double inspiration, but that's like unfair. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Asa,
You can't.
your inspiration is more special than the other guys' inspiration. Just saying.
Yes, it is so much more special.
But yeah, you guys are all inspired. All right, so we're gonna take a quick 5-minute break, and we'll
Cool.
be right back to see what it is that the party is gonna do now that they're just ultimately confused about what is right and what is wrong in the world.
It's
They-
all wrong.
It's all wrong. Every little